from a total number of charities in the city far exceeds the number what Brother Faheem has mentioned. Of course, you're all free to Google that and check how many charities are registered in the city of Leicester. You will never run short of which charity to join and to do some good work with. There are so many charities, right? The figure is astonishing. I think I would like all of you to check yourselves and not go by the stats that I put forward, because I myself have checked them, and then I'd like you also to get into the habit of checking. And a little bit of knowledge goes a long way. As they say, knowledge is, and your knowledge in your data is, Brother Faheem, what is it?
Power.
No, it's the PMS or the SMP or the MSP, whichever way you want to.
CPD, no?
No, that's something else. So Jamal, do you know what is the PMS? Tell Brother Faheem. He forgets very quickly.
Is it money, success, power?
Of course. And you can spin it as you wish. And it is knowledge and data is very important for all of us to carry. Of course, when you sit an exam,
yes,
is it all about knowledge? Right?
Yes.
And if you remember, you pass. If you don't remember, you fail. So your knowledge is very important. When we're learning the Quran, we are learning the ways and means of living our journey of life, aren't we?
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
So, what's the first word that was taught to us?
Iqra.
Of course. And what does that mean?
Read.
And of course, do we ever stop reading? No, we don't. So obviously today, people are not reading as they used to, but now there's no excuse not to read, because all the information is on your phone, on your laptop, wherever you want. There's information available today. That's where the technology is. And if you don't want to do none of that, then you can just invest a little bit of money in Alexa or one of the other mediums that are available in the marketplace. And there's so many, isn't there?
Yeah, I think one of the ways a lot of people do it now is just they put a podcast on in their car while they're driving. They just listen. You can listen on Spotify, YouTube, so many places. If you don't want to read a book, you can just listen to the audio book. So,
of course, there's absolutely no excuse. And, this is the way forward. Tomorrow's world is going to be totally digitized, right? And in fact, even our politics, our governance, everything else is going to be on a digital platform, Brother Faheem. Is that going to be good for the country or bad for the country, Jamal?
I think it's just the way the things are moving forward. You got to adapt with the times, isn't it? I think even when the car was introduced at one point, I think a lot of people were against it. That's back when they had horses and carriages. But they see how the world is now.
Faheem, here to my right, you see a ATC. This is a man who's going to adapt to change. ATC.
I thought I'll add to cart when you're shopping.
He's going to make a difference, right? So it is our responsibility as adults to ensure that we provide him the correct platforms so he can carry on making a difference to tomorrow's world, right? So the steps that we take as elders are going to define tomorrow. Tomorrow's world, we have to invest it in the young people that we have in the community. So young Jamal, if you don't mind me asking, how young are you?
I'm 23 years old.
That's it. You see, when you ask, this is a trick for you, Brother Faheem. If you ask people how old they are, they're like, I don't tell them in my room. If you ask them, how young are you? They get a different response. Yeah? So you see, I just showed you that work. Yeah? So, Brother Jamal, at this young age, you are making a difference, and a lot of your colleagues, you had a mix riders in your team. There were 30 of you?
30 people who took part in the ride, yeah.
And they were all from the minimum age?
Youngest I think we had was 20 years old.
20 years old.
Yes.
And the oldest?
The oldest, probably 56.
56?
Yes.
Wow. Can
we just name that brother on the radio?
No, I think we need him in the studio with you, Jamal. We need to make a special program for the riders. We're going to have young Jamal there, and we're going to have your colleague here. So we're going to draw a little bit of a balance between young and old. Yeah?
Yes.
So mashallah, he did incredibly well, didn't he?
Yes, definitely. I think you get a lot of older brothers.
So they're more experienced as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they sort of mentally, they are able to deal with this.
A lot more wisdom, and they pass it down to the younger ones, which is the good dynamic to have, isn't it?
Of course, it's a balance, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So that is what we're saying here, is the older ones in the community, like myself and many of the 56-year-old that Jamal has mentioned. And I think I do know his name, but I need to ask his permission before I can say his name, because we cannot just say his name on the radio without seeking his permission.
If I've got his age correct as well.
Well, if we haven't got your age correct, you please ring us on 0116-482-2086.
Tell us how young you are.
And you tell us how young you are. We're just guessing that it's 56, Imran. So that's what we're going to... A little bit of clue I gave everybody there. So anyone who knows this young brother, please call us on 0116-482-2086, or you can text us also on our number that you have on your phone. So, of course, this is very important. So we're saying about the older riders. How many were older, from 40 plus in your group?
Probably it ranges. Every year we have a different range of people who come, because of the pandemic this year. A lot of older people, as you know, are a lot more at risk, so not many came this year. But I think we had about probably six or seven people over 40, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's fine, yeah, that is. So how do you manage to sustain this each year? Because each year you manage to collect 30 riders to do the ride, because I know the year before you went to Germany.
Yeah, that's correct. I think each year people from the community, they find out about us and they just want to get involved. Alhamdulillah, we always reach our numbers every year. People, if anything, we're oversubscribed. And this year we did hold 4 different challenges to get as many people from the community as involved. And I think with lockdown this year, I'm sure people in Leicester have noticed the introduction of a lot of cycle lanes across Leicester by the City Council. So a lot more new brothers and sisters took up cycling. And that's why we wanted to try hold all these different challenges to try get as many people involved as possible.
Now, there is a lot of electric cycles about.
Yes, yeah.
Right, and the scooters, and you see them up and down. I mean, that is not cycling, is it, Brother Jamal?
I mean, if it gets people out of the cars and on the bicycles, I think it's good because pollution and all that. But it's not. If you talk to some cyclists, they'd be very against that, because if you go into a lot of different, you can go into a lot of different areas like Strava where people have records and it breaks their records.
That's like I'm imagining if Brother Faheem, he said, Jamal, I've bought a new bicycle, I'd like to show it to you. And when he brings it over to you and his little scooter with 2 small wheels and a battery on it, and what's your reaction going to be?
I mean, I'd be happy to see Faheem on a bike. So if that's how he gets into a bike,
that's what it is.
Then slowly we'll push him onto a proper bike.
That's killing my dreams right now.
Of course, I know some of the guys on the ride at Riders of Sham, like Brother Hasib. He's a very big guy, isn't he?
Very big, yeah. I think he probably weighs quite. I don't know. I don't want to put his weight on the radio, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's it does not matter really. They're young and there are older people ranging from 20 to 56. So this is very exciting. Something totally. I don't think there's any group in Leicester that have achieved that kind of success, and in sports and health, well-being, fitness, nutrition. All this is important, isn't it? So dehydration. Who's your mentor for all that?
We sort of, because we've been around for so long, we've kind of adapted. I think that the first year I joined Riders of Sham, I remember we were literally, we'd train 1 week before. I remember we trained 1 week, we cycled to Rutland Waters. Next week, we were cycling to Brussels, and we were eating like the bad foods, the wrong foods. And then over the years, you sort to learn and you begin to adapt. As you mentioned earlier, we started learning about the proper foods to eat, the carbs, the proteins, and now we've sort of kind of mastered the art of it. So in the evenings, we eat a lot of protein to help us with our recovery. During the day, we'll eat a lot of carbs, your pastas, your rices, and that will give us the fuel for the remainder of our journey. And I think these sort of little things are very important. And on the ride, we're constantly refueling with snacks, little energy bars that keeps us going. Fruits like your khajur, your nuts, and these are just things we picked up, and I think we've kind of mastered it now, alhamdulillah, over the years.
So nutrition is an integral part of the whole journey.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
And then how do you deal with your whole spiritual journey during that time, like when there's time for salah, and how do you deal with all of that?
Personally, from my own experience, I think from the experience of others, it's a very spiritual journey. We will always stop for salah, and we'll always remind ourselves of intention each day. We'll set off with the du'as, and going up hills, we'll do our dhikr, Allahu Akbar, and then going down hills, we'll do our dhikr as well. So it's we're constantly reminded remind ourselves of our intentions each day, and as in the evenings, as we pray our salah together, we're sort of reminded of our purpose, isn't it? A purpose in life. What
of course,
we set out for. Yeah.
the value of bonding, Brother Faheem, is also very important, isn't it?
Yeah, subhanAllah, and these kind of, when you do charity challenges, when you climb mountains with people, you do treks with people, you form a good bond between brothers, and obviously through that bond, they've done a lot of good work, alhamdulillah. So really important time to form these bonds between people.
So I would like us all in the city of Leicester, all of us listening in right now, we use this as an example to help us, all of us, to understand the value of working together within the community, with each other, to share the success of these guys and learn from it. And Brother Faheem, would that be a value for all of us? It'd be an asset for all of us?
For everyone, subhanAllah, if we all, I think one of the biggest problems that many people have is when they see people more successful or doing something they want to do, we try to find excuses or reasons why they're there and we're not, instead of taking it as an opportunity to learn. And I'm sure there's many people that want to do the same or similar things that the Riders of Sham are doing. So I think it's important to take the opportunity to learn. I'm sure that even they would be open if you wanted to communicate with them, you wanted to start your own cycling club, I'm sure they would give you advice on these things as well. So we should learn from the people that are doing good things and then work to emulate those things as well.
We had last week on the program, Brother Muhammad Patel. He's a lawyer. And I asked him the question is, he works a lot in sports. And I said to him, when are we going to see the first Asian football player in the England team? And he said, within 5 years. And he thereafter said, but there is a problem, Zed. There is a problem. He said, until we all communities learn to work together, sit together, discuss together, and do things on a common platform, then it ain't going to happen. Mm-hmm. So you're all familiar, the number of our young people who are playing the game of football, less are playing the game of cricket, but we have participants in basketball now, even with the riders, that it is possible, isn't it, Jamal, for all the different sports fraternities to come together and create that platform to make a difference and to sit with other communities as well in the city of Leicester. So would any of you have any stats on what is the percentage of our communities, the Asian community in Leicester? What would be out of 100?
If I was to guess, it would just be a guess, I don't know. I know that Leicester is the only city in the UK where actually the white population isn't the majority. I would guess we're about 40% of the Asian population.
Well, I'll share with you that we are the majority, the ethnic population in the city is majority in Leicester, right? And this is very, very important, that all the more important that we need to see the value of working together as a community. And this is absolutely something that we are trying to impress upon everybody listening in right now. So if you have any ideas on this, then call us on 0116 482 2086 and talk to us what you think, that how we can achieve this objective, because we actively, the Asian community have been in Leicester for 50 years. Just about the time, were you born there at that time?
No, not too far off.
Because that's quite a long time ago. I mean, it's not like the city where you were from, where you and I went to school together in Blackburn, Ribbleton Primary. Do you remember that? On Refuge Road?
Yeah, why not?
Do you remember that?
No.
You don't? Or did you go to Plaggate Farm?
No, I didn't go to Plaggate. I know where Plaggate is. I didn't go there. I didn't educate him. I was there till 5 years old, and then I came to Leicester.
5 years old.
That's why I don't have the northern twang.
So you must have gone to the Wally Range nursery.
Wally Range.
Yeah. So you see, we're just bringing him back to his past. At the age of 5, you moved to Leicester.
Yeah, that's why, alhamdulillah, I didn't get the Blackburn twang in my accent.
I see, that's fine. Of course, you do know that Blackburn, after many, many years, the first Conservative councillor was voted in there recently. You know that?
I think you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, and that was historic, that's never happened for a long, long time. It's predominantly been a Labour council, and the brother Tiger Patel. If you can Google him, you'll see plenty about him and his achievements in that particular city. So, of course, the inner cities are strategically, throughout the country, they tend to be the ethnic dominated in Birmingham, in Leicester, Manchester, London, and many of the inner cities that you go to. And that is a trend that has taken place, not recent, but over the last 50 years, every decade, we have seen new diversities moving into these cities. So, top of your head, how many diversities do you think are in the city now?
61.
61? Well, you're not far away, it's 40 plus.
Okay.
And then imagine if somebody had to name them all 40 of them, or even 20 of them.
Hey, Jamal can do it.
They'll be lost at 5. Come on, let's have a go. Jamal, we're picking on you because you're the youngest, the brightest, the fastest, more energetic than anybody else, and full of positive energy, whereas myself and brother Faheem, we got an element of 60%. You're at 85% positive energy. So have a go. How many different communities we have, diversities we have in the city?
You must have seen them all on the bike ride as well, so you should know.
Okay, obviously we have Asian Indian,
Yeah.
Asian Bangladeshis, Asian Pakistani. We have Arab, Turkish. We have...
Well, I'm pleased to tell you Jamal has reached 5 there. He's doing well. He's got 15 more to go.
I know we have a Moroccan community.
Yeah.
We have Afro-Caribbean community. We have...
We've got a large influx of Syrian refugees, Iraqi refugees,
Palestinians.
Now, guys, we almost coming to the end of this program. So the fastest way to answer that is very simple. You just got to say Asian times 20. That's 20 done.
Yeah.
You say Arab times 10. That's 10 done, and so on. Or you turn to your left and you have a look at all the stats up there, right?
And Eastern European, of course, where we are now.
And that's right. Eastern European, you multiply that by 10, and you pass 50 already, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And this is how it goes. You can answer that very quickly. But if you look at some of the stats here on the screen there, it is absolutely 2011 was the last census, and 2021 census, the results will come out sometime in October, I'm told. And it's going to be quite astonishing, the figures that we will see in 2021. So at the moment, we are not accurate at all with our figures, but in 21, when the new census will be reported in October, our producer can fast track that. He's got contacts, and let us know if that's possible. He's got contacts.
No, I know. I've seen his phone list.
Yeah, you've seen huge number of people that he knows, right? He makes calls.
Jamal, if you ever raise the money, just get a hold of his phone, send a little message.
Yeah, and you see a lot of money coming in from his database. Of course, this is very important. Now, all of us, we need a huge amount of skills to negotiate and bring all these different diversities in the community on the table to work together with them. And here at Haj Radio, we have made it a point to reach out to these communities and bring them on, talk to them, and discuss with them, and get to know more about that community. The more we get to know about them, the engagement can improve. Mm-hmm. And imagine, Jamal, you go on a ride and you have so many diversities riding together. Does that send a strong message?
Definitely. I think it does.
And when you stop and they see you're doing salah, they'll ask you a question. Well, why do you do this? And it's a method of dawah as well, isn't it?
Yeah, they say the best form of dawah is a Muslim's character.
Yeah, I remember when we used to do our homeless food bank, all the time people would ask us, why do you give us food? Why do you do this? Do you get paid? And it's a great, all the good deeds you do are a great gateway for you to be able to tell people about Islam, a much better way than just going around and trying to preach to everybody.
Of course, April 22, between March and April 22, the new census results will be known to us. And I can tell you now that with my counting method, we've gone past 50% with the ethnic communities, and the breakdown of that. Now, often I wonder that what if people have missed out and not filled the form in and not registered? What happens then for him? What do
I
you
don't know,
think?
but my form didn't get registered this year. I know that.
So for him,
I missed out.
you are now contributing to disturbing my stats.
Yep.
So Jamal, what about you? Did you fill that form in?
Yeah, I did. I thought they come knocking on your house if you.
No, so they sent it to us, but with the wrong address. So I called them. I said, "Can you send me one with the right address so I can fill it in properly?" And I'm still waiting for the form to come.
So there's
I think they're trying to get the number below 50%, so they've not included my figures in the stats.
I think he's like going down the conspiracy route now. And you know that on radio we don't talk about these kind of things. In fact, we got to give him a strikeout for that. So guys, you know, it'll be interesting for sure. I think, you know, whatever the figure is, the point is we all have to work together as a team. And these new diversities that have joined the city, the duty is for us to engage with them because they're like new kids on the block. And for us, we are established here. We got to share our experiences with them, regardless of who they are, where they're from. And many charities are already doing that to the Syrian refugees you mentioned earlier on. But all of us in the community should join hands together and work together with all the diversities.
We have a great opportunity in the city because we have so many charities, all these fundraising activities like Riders of Sham. So it's a great opportunity if organizations like ourselves, like Riders of Sham, can do more work to
we're coming to the end of the program. Jamal, I'll let you close the program today.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum to all our supporters. Please continue to support us at Riders of Sham Instagram, and we have our John O'Groats to London.
Jazakallah khair.
I can talk to you, yeah? Just tune. I'm going to give you 2
Okay.
minutes. 2 minute countdown.
Just let me know when